Welcome in Chiefs Kingdom to Cheifs Latest, your one-stop spot for everything Kansas City Chiefs in 15 minutes or less. It is your host, Calvin Silvers. Happy Wednesday. Finally made it to the middle of the week. I'm a little sad. I thought it was Thursday. Got a rude awakening when I saw the calendar. Actually, you know what? I looked at my phone. I didn't even look at a calendar. Do you guys look at calendars anymore? How often do you guys get up, walk on over to a calendar, and look at what day it is or what you have planned that day? I would just happen to look at my phone, but it doesn't matter. Got off on a little tangent there. Does not matter how I found out. I did realize that it was only Wednesday. But the NFL gifted us some big news that we have to talk about, although it's negative for the Chiefs. I'm going to dive into it, but before I do, you know the drill. Does not matter what platform you are on right now. Go ahead, take a moment and hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because we have daily, that's right, daily videos here at Cheifs Latest Monday through Friday. And folks, we're on week 2 already. It's going to just start picking up. It's going to start steamrolling. It's going to be faster and faster as the weeks go by. You're not going to want to miss any of the news, rumors, or actions regarding this team. So please hit that subscribe button, turn on those notifications as it not only helps me in the channel, but it's going to help you stay up to date with everything Kansas City Chiefs. And before I dive into this first topic, speaking of subscribers, I want to thank you guys for over 500. Seems just like the other day we got this channel off the ground, and look at where we are now. I love all the support, all the comments, all the likes, and of course, all the subscriptions. It truly means a lot. Let's keep it going. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, and please send this link to a couple friends. Have them jump on board, let them comment, let them share their thoughts. I would love to see it. But back to this episode, us Chiefs fans, we were hoping that we were going to get some good news from the NFL, that Jalen Carter wasn't going to play against us Saturday. Of course, he had that boneheaded decision for whatever reason to spit on Dak Prescott in week 1. We were just hoping it was going to sideline him for the Super Bowl rematch, but the NFL's ruling that that ejection counts as a one-game suspension means that we're going to have to prepare for the wrecking ball on Philly. We're not getting out of this one, folks. Our Sunday does not get much easier now. But I'm not buying the gripes that this is deceitful, as he did not make a single football move. So did not participate, did not play. It makes sense. And the fact that that ejection counts as a suspension makes sense. He didn't make a football move. But Carter's going to come out hungry now. He's going to want to flip the narrative. He's going to want to flip his reputation after he just got caught by millions spitting on Dak Prescott. Just along with this Eagles D-line who's already hungry, who wants to rattle Mahomes again. They did that last year in the Super Bowl, 40.5% of his dropbacks. He was pressured. Our O-line with Jawan Taylor, Jalen Moore, they're going to have a brutal day ahead. We already know my thoughts on Taylor and his penalties and how he already hurts the team by getting them behind the sticks. Moore isn't necessarily proven yet with the Chiefs. So what are we getting there? It's going to be a rough day ahead. Carter has that ability to disrupt Mahomes. Again, his motivation to move past the spitting drama, it's going to make him even more dangerous. But he's not getting off scot-free. You might say, well, Calvin, that wasn't even, a suspension. He just got ejected. Right? He kind of is getting off, scot-free. Well, he's not. He did get fined as well, $57,222. That was the fine that he had to pay. So again, the fact that he did not participate in week 1 is the right call. He never played. He never had to make a football decision. Yes, Carter technically was on the field long enough to receive an ejection. But what football decision did he make? Spitting on someone is not a football decision. What football move did he make? Walking up to a quarterback before the game starts and spitting on him is not a football move. Now, I'm not sure if this was a joke. I found some seriousness behind it, but some Chief fans were questioning then the idea of making Rice's 2024 injury absences that he suffered in week 4 last season to count retroactively towards his suspension that he's dealing with right now. However, that it doesn't work like that. A core element of NFL suspension is the financial penalty aspect of it all. Rice was still paid his salary on IR. Carter was fined his game paycheck at $57 $1,222 he had to pay. That's a game paycheck. Rice's suspension also wasn't finalized until last month. So there was no suspension to quote unquote serve last year, even though he was on IR. What was he going to serve? Nothing was settled. It's really apples to oranges at the end of the day. Rice had a real world consequence crash. I mean, people were hurt. Carter had an unsportsmanlike move. It was caught on camera. Millions of people saw it. Literally, a ref was standing right there. So this was able to be resolved fast. We know what happened. We saw it all with our own eyes. So yes, this stings, but to let Carter play, it is fair and it's the right move. He made no football move. He made no football decision. He did not play. He did not participate. So yes, we were hoping on Carter missing week 2. But the NFL suspension rule lets him suit up. And with his hunger to rewrite his beginning of the season, this is technically his first game of the season. Our O-line is in for a dogfight. He's going to be hungry. He's going to want to flip the narrative that's surrounding him right now. And he can do that with good play, whether that's right or whether that's wrong. Let's stick defense. But I'm going to talk some good news and some bad news because I was talking about the Chiefs potentially eyeing Jabril Peppers. But as I was talking about that, the Steelers just decided to come in and add another old veteran to their defense. We need someone back there with our secondary. We know how bad they performed in week 1. So now with Peppers gone, it has us grasping for another veteran, and there's not many out there left that are at a high level, but there is one that can fix our back end woes. But Peppers' knack for locking down tight ends, blitzing off the edge, ranging sideline to sideline, yes, that would have been a gift to Spags. But the Chiefs were sleeping. The Chiefs let it go. So now they have to eye Justin Simmons. But he does fit a nice role. Ball hawking instincts. He's the next best option for some stability in the secondary. His range, proven track record against Mahomes, provides a lot of knowledge for this room. But is it not nerve-wracking that he's still out there? If he's this good, if his stats back up the eye test, what happened? Why hasn't someone picked him up yet? If you look at him last season, 71 tackles, 2 interceptions, 1 forced fumble, 74.8 PFF grade. If you look at his career interceptions versus Mahomes, he has 6 of them. So he's going to be good for sharpening that offense in practice. But his entire career, 32 interceptions, including 6 in 2022. That was most by a Bronco since Champ Bailey's 10 in 2006. Not only that, from 2020 to 2022, he recorded 16 interceptions total. He's still a deep field playmaker. That 74.8 PFF grade last season with the Falcons proves that he's still a good option at safety. You're going to be able to mentor people like Hicks, people like Chamari Connor, and still anchor that 3 safety look that the Chiefs like. Yes, missing out on Peppers, it stings. But Simmons has that range, has that ball hawking ability, can make him a prime target to fix our secondary. Though the fact is, he's still in the market. And I don't know if that's a good sign that he's still there and no team has picked him up. I'm not sure if something happened, if it's just age. But I would still look at him or at least give him a call if I am the Chiefs. Well, I've been tossing names out there like Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman, Tyler Boyd, Rashid Shaheed. Some names like that to bolster this Chiefs receiving room. And now some of you guys seem intrigued by these options and are commenting down below, having some good, healthy debates in the comments. But some of you guys were just not having it. But after reading the comments, because I do, Pat Mo 007, he mentioned pushing for some, younger talent, someone off the practice squad, to someone that's really hungry and wants to step up. And the Chiefs, it seems like they're thinking along those lines. I don't need to go into much detail because I've been talking about it, but we know that Worthy is sidelined by this vague, but it is confirmed right shoulder dislocation. And I mean vague because they say day to day. We don't truly know what that means with the Kansas City Chiefs. But because of this, the Chiefs are turning to a old friend, or maybe even new friend, depends on how you look at it, but that's Hal Presley. They want to just add some depth to this depleted wide receiver room, listening to what Pat Mo 007 had to say. Now, Presley's no star, but bring him in back to this practice squad, that does show that the Chiefs saw some potential in his game. They must like his familiarity with the playbook, and they must like his work ethic. They're not just going to bring someone lazy in, especially when they need all the help they can get in the wide receiver room. If he did all this in a short amount of time with the Chiefs, maybe he could earn a game day elevation if he keeps putting in the work, although does not seem very likely. I don't want to ruin the kid's dreams because anything is possible, but it seems unlikely. But if you look at his career with Baylor, 81 receptions, 1,048 yards, 7 touchdowns. Last season, 31 catches, 429 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I said old friend, new friend, doesn't matter how you look at it because he did play for us in the preseason. 2 catches, 20 yards on 29 offensive snaps. This signing to the practice squad, he did play with the Bills for a little bit, was with us for the preseason, just gives us a low-cost, system-familiar body. Let him run scout team. Potentially elevate if Worthy's, recovery is going to drag out, or Royals' knee tendinitis lingers. At least he's there. At least there's a depth option. He can handle short to immediate routes, but he's a long shot for any major role within this wide receiver room. Kendrick Bourne was out there. Of course, he's not young like Pat Moe once, but he was picked up by the 49ers, so that option now is off the table. So even if you wanted to go more the veteran route and not pick up someone young, that's off the table now. Your options are getting slim. So Worthy's injury leaves the Chiefs scrambling, as we can see, and while fans dream of more talented names, maybe even someone like Tyreek Hill, Presley's practice squad return, it's a practical move. And that's how we have to look at it. It's just a practical move. He knows the system. Yes, he's not likely going to make an impact, but this move is very practical. And last but not least, of course, I have to talk about the wide receiver still. I have to continue on with it, and I'm bringing up another trade possibility. Now, you might be mentioning, Calvin, didn't you just talk about a trade with the Chiefs? I did. I talked about it yesterday. Rashid Shaheed could be a long-term answer for this Chiefs wide receiver room. But there's buzz around another name on the Saints, and that is Chris Olave, the Saints' former first-round star. He could be on the trade block as New Orleans dives into a rebuild. We already know this. Spencer Rattler is your quarterback. Your cap situation is a mess. The Saints will want to deal away expiring contracts or get rid of veterans who don't fit the timeline of what their current situation is. But the Chiefs face a cap crunch of their own, and a potential Rashee Rice extension is looming in the future. It has you questioning if Veach can even swing this and pull it off. Olave, of course, is a proven vertical threat, but he has an injury history, 5 concussions since his time in college, including 2 that shut him down last year. And that is something that we're trying to avoid. So yes, this makes him a high-risk, high-reward gamble, especially with our wide receiver room's constant injury history. In his career, 198 receptions, 2,619 yards, 9 touchdowns, and he had back-to-back 1,000-yard receiving seasons. Last season, 32 catches, 400 yards, and 1 touchdown, but only played in 8 games. He had those 2 concussions. We saw what he did this past week, 7 receptions for 54 yards, but he left with a chest injury. Yes, he's expected to play in week 2, but that just brings up the high risk, high reward that you get with him. But he has a deep threat profile, 13 plus average depth of target in his first 2 seasons. Quick release off the line, uses that snap anticipation that helps him burn the defense vertically. So his speed, his route running, yes, that could replace Worthy's deep threat role while he's sidelined. It would complement Rice long term, but his 5th-year option in 2026, his injury history of those 5 concussions, it complicates the Chiefs' caps and it complicates the roster stability. We're already facing a bunch of injuries in that room. A round 2 to 3 pick, that might seal the deal for a trade. But if you look at the Saints' $20 million dead cap that they're going to have, that could push them to demand more. And paying Olave big money might force tough choices when you have to look at Rice's extension that's going to be coming up. With Mahomes needing reliable targets, Olave would just come right in, fit the vertical scheme, but it's his health that's the main problem. It makes it a tricky proposition. And I just don't know if the Chiefs want to gamble when we've been gambling the past few seasons and it just isn't working out. Well, that is all that I have on this Wednesday, on this hump day, middle of the week. We're almost there. At least we get some football on tomorrow. We get to watch some NFC football. So we get to kick back and relax until Sunday when we know it's going to be a tough one. Let me know in the comments what you think about Jalen Carter getting to play. Do you think that's fair or not? Again, I think it is, but I'd love to hear your guys' comments on that. What do you think about adding Justin Simmons to this defense? Does the Hal Presley move, does that move the needle for you at all? And what do you think about trading for Chris Olave, or is he too injury prone? If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. I am your host, Calvin Silvers, and until next time,